welcome back from the vlog. Thanks for tuning in. We have a mixed bag today for you. Some content from a few days ago. I'm gonna bounce around a little bit today, focusing somewhat on this truck behind me, M1123, shipped to us by the customer directly from his source where he had it built, and he wants to get that Duramax swap as everyone else would. So I know you guys always love the Humvee content, so I just want to get you a look inside the engine bay of this. Ben's here right now wrapping up the wiring, doing the flex loom, the final details, which I do feel are very important to top off or wrap up all the heavy lifting the guys do inside. So I'll come take a look at the Duramax, the Allison 6-speed, fully deleted because this is an Arizona truck. He did go with our upgraded heavy-duty cooling package, so he has the slim mount condenser with the fan on top. This truck was outfitted with AC from the customer source, so it's good to see that. I'm going to be stepping in this tonight for the first of many drive cycles and break-in miles, so I'm looking forward to that. Again, as you may know, I have a Humvee and I really enjoyed this platform, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this would be and what I could eventually maybe turn mine into. You want to go over the differences between the Lbz and the Lm?
It's injectors, just the way that it connects, the harness obviously, but the heart and soul of it, it's the same.
It came out with the LMM in 07.5.
Yeah.
Because that was when EPA brought out that DPF. So it needed a computer that can handle the regen of that diesel particulate filter. So that's what was born the LMM. It kind of happened again one more time in 12 when they came out with the LML, because that's when they started DEF. So again, they needed a computer and a system that could handle that new restrictions that they're putting out. So then came the LML.
Yeah.
And then I think the L5P was finally the time when maybe emissions had stopped kind of tracking down. And then Isuzu/Duramax was trying to get performance back in it. That's when because they really revamped the whole thing with the L5P, right? There's a lot of changes in the block.
Yeah, the whole thing is different. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. So I like this model, the Lbz LMM, because of the CP3. The LML that I have in my truck, I'm trying to sell it now if anyone wants to buy one, the Denali 2015.
Is that a little plug?
Yeah. That has a CP4, and I have the stock CP4 still. I don't like mentioning it because it's like, I feel like, knowing my luck, as soon as I get home, I'm going to have a failed injection pump.
It's not going to want to start.
Exactly. So that's kind of in a nutshell what my take on it, and obviously Flo's factual knowledge of the differences in the motor.
And the Lbz only came out for 1.5 years, right?
Yeah, 6 to 7.5.
Yeah.
They replaced the LOY that was in the Alpha, which had the FECM, a goofy box that set up here, the fuel injection control module.
Alternator.
Yeah, that was a weird part. It had fuel running through the middle of it to like cool the components.
Yeah, which I don't. It just went
just
like
a straight shot through. Yeah, it's not like it didn't go through a radiator. It was just a straight through pass.
Yeah.
And fuel of all things to cool a part.
It's hot.
Yeah, that's kind of sketchy. So either way, the LOY was short-lived. The predecessor of the LB7, which had tons of issues. You see here, injectors are exposed. The injectors on the LB7 were underneath the valve cover. So it's a nightmare. To do any work, you had to pull everything off just to get down and swap the injectors out. So yeah, it's been kind of a road to finding their place, but the LMM, LBZ, L5P, I think those are all good motors. We're slowly getting into some tuning abilities on the L5P, like Ryan's truck out there. So I think it's only right on the corner we'll be able to start converting with them. Downside, anyone in California won't be able to play with it because of there's just no real estate for all the equipment. Even the DEF of an LML is hard to do. You just can't find the room on H1. H2, like you scroll back to some of the other episodes, we did an episode of the H2 with the LML. That fit well, we did good. But we just can't do it on the H1. So usual conversion, 38,900, and that's the same process you see Flo doing on all these motors. Doesn't include the ARP head studs and the mains, which you can only see the cross bolt that goes into the main caps there. But that's the full process, body off. Flo and the rest of the team there yank the body out, pull the engine, paint and polish the frame pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
And yeah, turnkey with that 38.9. I've had 1 or 2 guys do with it just the conversion, but most, if not everyone, does the studs, and then a lot of the guys, and it's recommended to complement it with the half shafts and the brakes. So you get around 40, 47 when it's all said and done. Well, call me or email me, and if you have any questions about pricing. So this Duramax is tucked under the body on this M1123 with a 3-inch lift. Typically we'll do a 2-inch lift, and for you guys that are very techie and down to the details, it would honestly be a 2.5-inch lift on a Humvee, because the stock Humvee, the NA, did not have any body lift at all. When AM General came out with the turbo diesel, they gave it a 1/2-inch lift. When they came out with the Alpha, they gave it a 2-inch lift, subsequently a 2.5-inch lift. So that is what our typical Duramax conversion sits on. This one, however, had a unique AC system that was put in there. It's very restrictive on its position and space under the Doghouse. So we had to do a 3-inch lift to gain a little bit more room. So I think I would give up a little stance to gain the AC, because this is an Arizona truck. He's already in the discussion now on some further sound deadening, heat suppression, something to make it a little bit more user-friendly when he's running this thing. Ben's over there wrapping up the flex loom of the wiring that we need to add to a Humvee platform. Granted, it's going from 24 to 12. It's also getting a ton of accessories and other supplemental equipment that need to be run and powered and have an ignition source. So when he sneaks out of there, we'll get over there and show you some of that wiring a little bit closer and what we do. Adding the main fuse for the system itself. Everything on our Duramax swaps functions correctly. The intake air heater, it functions correctly. All check engine lights, even on a Humvee platform, is gonna function correctly. Every vehicle that you have, you can plug into with a OBD2 connector through that DLC and pull all the codes like you would from, or inspect its data logging and look at anything on that engine and transmission system like you would a regular 06 through 2010 Chevy GM truck. I know you guys are sick of hearing me talk. Let's walk over there, talk with Ben, and see what he's got going on. So just when Ben thought he was done and he was packing up his tools to leave, we kept him here, threw a camera on him. Now it's Ben's show. What's up?
Hi, I'm Ben. And what I've been doing here is just kind of cleaning up the wiring harness. So you can see here that this is our fuse block that we installed, where we run a lot of our power and ignition sources from for any accessories and what have you. And right here you can see this big chunk here is where the engine harness meets up with the body harness, basically where we splice it all together to make it a complete truck, more or less. And as you can see, we do use flex loom on pretty much everything, and not just wires as well. These are cooler hoses right here, obviously, and we obviously use loom on those to help protect them from rubbing, chafing. So you can use it on a lot of stuff. It really is multi-purpose.
Is it getting down to the TCM down there, or?
Yeah, just so this is where it's important to, when you run all your wires, to keep in mind that you want to dress them in as you go, because it's pretty difficult to go in afterwards after someone else's work. And you know, then you gotta cut wires, and sometimes they're gonna be the same color, obviously, and things can get mixed up really easy. So when you're doing wiring, just always keep in mind, you know, you want to run things in one bundle if you can, or wherever possible. So obviously there's tons of wires under here, and you know, before the camera was on me, I'd spent probably about, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes, basically making one bundle instead of, you know, 20, 30 separate wires,
yeah,
all going off in different directions.
Yeah, that's always one of my pet peeves, is when I see flex loom and there's a bunch of individuals.
Yeah.
You know, when they're all going the similar direction, go ahead and loom it up, larger wires. And I see how you tied in or teed off. That's kind of cool. I like that, going to that main Busman fuse that we have there. So pretty neat. You know, overall, this is a cool truck. I love the Humvees. I'm excited to get in here and start running it tonight. I know Ben's driven it around the block a few times, calibrated the speedo that we do include in the Humvee conversion. So now we're all set. These guys dial it in, and I run it home and start doing the miles and not doing the break-in style. One thing you'll see off to my left shoulder is a forwarding exhaust that is plumbed into the Duramax. Typically the customers have us change that to a bumper mounted exhaust that's that side exit, but this retained the factory 3-inch with the heat shield around it, but that is piped into our 4-inch exhaust from the turbo back. So that's pretty cool. We don't see that very often, so I'm glad to see that intact. And this thing looks like it's just a regular Humvee, kind of a sleeper with that 500 horsepower under the hood. So you about done now, Ben?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. We can call it quits for the day.
Cool. Perfect. Thanks, man. Yep. Appreciate it. We'll get you on here again. You'll see Ben more to come in the upcoming episodes. Try and get him in this when he's in an uncomfortable spot. He's messing around with some wires. It's always a pain.
As he runs off as quick as possible.
Another cool feature that this customer requested, I assume, from the builder, is a full camera system. It does have 3 or 4 cameras throughout, and these things, as you guys are experienced on the M series model vehicle, very full of blind spots, very difficult. The mirrors are kind of lackluster. They're perfect, great production vehicle for its main purpose, but on highway, when we're used to a regular truck with the visibility, this sure does lack. Let's get Jason around the corner here. Let's take a look inside, see how they outfitted it. So now we're here at the driver's console of the M1123. Our typical gauge set we go with on our Duramax swaps from the 24 to 12 Humvee conversion will be the Marshall gauges. They're local to Southern California. Good fitment, price point, gauge. I think they work well. It's something that has a good fit to it, has kind of a military feel to it also. So that's what we opt for on changing those. We do have to change some mandatory, going from the mechanical speedo to electronic speedo that the Duramax needs. We have to change the speedo. Obviously the voltmeter needs to change because it's now 12 volt where it was 24 volt. So most of the time we do a whole gauge swap so it fits and looks apart. Mentioned earlier was the blind spots that are in throughout this platform. The monitor here is what all the cameras, the 3 or 4 cameras are presented on. So that's going to help. I'm looking forward to taking advantage of that on the drive home here shortly. So the Doghouse that these guys put out is very similar to a lot of the other ones I see out there. Has a marine head unit here, a USB point, power point there, a couple cup holders, some contour switches for the auxiliary lights that are there, and looks like a set of just a set of speakers, some 6-inch, some off-brand speakers there. So kind of neat. It works. Definitely something where there typically is nothing. So again, you'll see a ton of different guys doing it. Same thing with this kind of AC box, the console that they put up there. So the guys in Florida, actually Andrew to be precise, he put together a pretty bang-up Doghouse that has a lot of great features to it. Let's cut to some clips there so you can see what those guys have been up to.
Hey guys, Andrew from Predator Florida here. Today we're going to give you a look at this new product we got coming out. Before we install it, it's going to go in the truck behind us here. This is a Humvee we're in the process of building right now. The light bars on there are rigid adapt series. So you have changing LED accents in it. So what we got here is a custom Doghouse cover that we've built out of 1/8" aluminum sheets. It's got the custom texture on there, all done in-house. This customer went with the CB radio. We've got the Wayland control system below that. And then down below here we got a 500 watt power inverter. It's actually built into the Doghouse itself. And then around the corner we have the Alpine 9-inch stereo unit. And this top plate on here has been anodized red, and it's actually removable. So once this is installed inside the Humvee, if you need to make any changes or anything, or just to plug it in, you can remove this top piece, get in there and get what you need to get done. Come around to the back of it. You come around back here.
Sorry, I didn't know.
That's all right. So here you can see it's all self-contained. All the wiring, all the components, everything's built into it. So the great thing about that is all your plugs right here. So it's as simple as unplugging this, and then the whole unit can be removed with everything in it, all your wiring, no hassle at all.
Alright guys, thanks for watching. Do appreciate each and every one of you guys watching the show, our little slice of life. The M1123 is going to get some miles under it, and I'm going to try and grab Jason, get some drive content so you can kind of see how it is. I know there's a collection of Humvee guys, me being one of them, that really enjoy this type of content. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Scroll down, hit me some comments, hit that subscription and notification button, and stay tuned for upcoming episodes.